All right, so we go next to our speaker. So cultural and creative sectors are important in their own right in terms of their economic footprint and employment. They are also spur innovation across the economy, as well as contribute to numerous other channels for positive social impact, may it be well-being and health, education, inclusion, urban regeneration, etc. So more will be tackled by our next speaker, Cristina Reclamado, with the topic Embracing Cultural and Behavioral Shifts Caused by COVID-19. So Maria Cristina Estacio Reclamado, a TFL, a certified payroll professional, a chartered professional in human resources, a co-owner of Imperium Group of Companies, community creator, and lead administrator of HR Shouts and Whispers, an HR business leader, communication coach, and creative arts facilitator. Industry leaders, we have Miss Cristina Reclamado. Good afternoon to you.
Yes, good afternoon, Jester. How are you today?
Very good, very good. So we have actually active participants, no, from the
Uh,
session throughout the day.
oh, that's very good. So we're here and we're talking about change. So, it's the past 8 months, okay, and we see a lot of changes. Well, a lot of people have been affected by COVID, whether it was physically, okay, also mentally and financially. So I'm here to talk about how you should embrace change. So let me just share my screen. So let me just
So again, we invite the participants to please stay tuned. So later we will be showing a lot of raffle winners at the end of this session. All right, here
so yes, okay. So Jester, can you see my screen?
we can see it now. It's quite kind of loading.
Yes. So that's one change that we expect for the internet to get faster. So it's just loading up.
So while waiting, so later we'll have the last session from Tina Koang, no, with the topic the essential people management competencies in the new normal, and then later on we'll also be announcing the winners, no, from our
Mhm.
audiences, from Call Financial and Enchanted Kingdom and other generous sponsors.
Well, anyway, while we're loading up, so Chester, okay, so let's just ask our audience. So, well, from March this year, how have your lifestyles changed? So, some people went on work from home. How about you?
You know, a lot has changed, especially from the day of the lockdown. So we've actually transitioned from the office to working from home in the last few months, and then we went back to the office since the cases here are subsiding, and it's now getting really kind of not really normal, but kind of safe now in the past days. So it's actually um, quite amazing that we see companies now surviving this pandemic situation. So I guess the PowerPoint now is ready. It's being screen shared by Mark Ambray.
Okay, that's good. Okay, thank you for that, Mark. Okay, so, well, in the past 8 months, okay, a lot of changes have happened in our lives. Okay, so we see a lot of people being more conscious of their health, being more conscious of their safety, their sanitation. So, and then a lot more. Okay, so let me just share some statistics. Okay, so there was much focus on health and sanitation. Okay, people are not leaving their houses without hand sanitizers without their PPEs. Okay, they're more when they are in queue in the grocery. They are mindful of the distance between two people. Okay, when they are being crowded in the queue lines, okay, especially when you're paying for your groceries, they are quick to remind other people that they should maintain social distancing. So 85 people, okay, they have reported, okay, washing their hands or using sanitizers more often than before. Okay, so we have some practices about social distancing. Okay, so you are to maintain, okay, a few meters away from each other. Also, this is a term that we have to know. Okay, this is for me a more neutral term, which is anthropos. Okay, so this has described lockdowns. Okay, and being made to stay at your homes because of the lockdown and quarantine. So the term is anthropos. Okay, and because of anthropos, we see the nature recovering. Okay, so because individuals or humans, okay, are not there to disturb the ecology of a certain place. Okay, so this was common in the outback, okay, in Australia. Also, we have been more mindful of certain practices, such as like covering your cough and spitting. Okay. And we have replaced our handshakes and usual ways of greeting, okay, by certain salutes. Okay. So we don't make beso anymore. And then, of course, the obligatory handshake, we just have to, make do without it. Okay, just as a precaution. Also, we have certain this one is we see individuals more on a savings mode, okay, kind of thing, okay, nowadays. So just paying for essential stuff or spending for essential stuff, okay? And a certain explanation for that would be the prospect theory of human behavior, which is the tendency of individuals to focus on gains rather than losses. So, gains meaning when you talk to individuals, don't talk anymore about certain introductions, etc. Just go to the meat of the discussion, which is how you can gain, okay, from a certain endeavor, okay. And I could see that because of this theory, individuals are not quick to spend unless they see, okay, some immediate gain on an endeavor. So they would be rather spending on groceries or necessities, but maybe on long-term investments, they are likely to hold out, okay, and then see if there are some near recoveries, okay, or recoveries in the near term. Because individuals, okay, so explained again by the certainty effect, individuals prefer outcomes that are certain, segurista, okay. And of course, if you are in the marketing side of the business, okay, you have to be mindful of the isolation effect, okay, because people, okay, don't want to be overloaded with information, okay, there's just too much, okay. They would actually, okay, prefer things that are certain. And so you should be mindful and take care of how you are framing your communication with them. So this is useful for marketing. This is useful for HR. Okay, when you do communicate to them. So just a bit of a background on my career. So now I'm in HR. People know me as the leader and founder of HR Shouts. But a few years, okay, when I started out, I was in media and I was in advertising and I was doing marketing. And during this part, during 2016, I ventured into being an entrepreneur. We had a retail store in the fort. Um, it was a hotel. It was a retail store. We were selling branded sneakers and fashion, okay, stuff, okay, and eventually we opened a BPO. So that is my background as a business owner. So I have this opportunity, okay, to see all these theories in action. And maybe when you do your communication and your marketing, especially with marketing and people communication, you should be mindful of this dynamic. Also, there's a focus on mental health. Okay, so because people have been stressed too much. Okay, so as explained by our previous speaker on this topic, Mr. Oliver Rickilman. Okay, so we COVID-19 was a significant stressor because things were very unpredictable. And so, okay, uh, we limit our exposure to these kinds of news, or yung pinaka-bad na news, we kind of like just detach from it. Also, we have to refrain. It was advised to refrain from referring to these people as victims, okay, because we don't really want to highlight COVID as something that's not solvable. Of course, COVID is solvable. It just needs time. There are many factors that were present when COVID-19 hit, okay? In fact, with or without COVID, okay, it was predicted by, okay, industry business experts, okay, that by 2025, okay, there will be a completely different world, okay? And we will explain this, okay, in a nutshell, in a framework, okay? So, COVID-19, okay, it just so happened that COVID-19 accelerated these trends. However, okay, we have okay, we have been facing asymmetry, disruption, age, polarization, and trust. This is a framework that we use, okay, and I found this also very useful to explain what are the trends, to sum it up, okay? And we had asymmetry. Okay, so of course, we could see that the divide between the haves and the have-nots have been expanding. Okay, and well, more so when COVID hit, because some businesses, especially small businesses, had to force to be shut. Okay, had to shut down because there are just well, there are no profits coming in, okay, and then were a lot of expenses, okay, so that were related to cope with COVID-19. So that's one, okay, those small businesses will be likely hit, and it was happening already. And when COVID-19 hit, especially in the Philippines, okay, so this hastened everything. And then another thing is about the disruption of our lives because of technology. So for us, or especially those that have jobs that are in the internet industry, okay, technology is seen as a positive force, okay. But for other industries, okay, this can be disruptive, okay, especially those, okay, that are related to, okay, or have a significant impact on ecology, the environment. So the pervasive nature of technology can be seen as impacting not just individuals, society, but also the climate. Okay. And well, when COVID-19 came because of anthropos, well, because humans stopped, okay, being present in all these environments, and we were just forced to be at home. What happened was it gave a chance for the environment to recover. Okay, so but in other parts of the world, okay, the practice also of certain especially of the manufacturing industries, are seen to really, okay, be hindering the environment, and so worsening the impact on climate change. So, and then we have age. which is there are a lot of groups now. Okay, a lot of groups before COVID-19 hit. Okay, so there was already a concern that people beyond a certain age, such as 40, okay, they are having, because at that time, okay, they might be some companies were also retrenching, or some 40 somethings are considering retirement and just living off their savings. So this one, when COVID-19 hit, um, well, people are now relying on their savings, and because of the tremendous expenses, especially on health, they might be spending too fast. So 40 somethings, okay, might be experiencing depleted, okay, resources. On the younger generation, because they have no resources yet, because they are just, starting out their careers, okay. Well, it might be that they might be they might be experiencing some setbacks, okay, such as career promotion, and this will, of course, have a significant impact on their savings, okay, or their propensity to save later on. And you know that savings, okay, is actually, a very significant survival technique. Uh, Due to last the pause brought on by COVID-19. And then we have polarization, which is actually, this is about political views. Okay, and we have like a lot of global entities not reaching a consensus. Okay, which is seen as dividing or fracturing the world. So there will be a tendency, okay, to be nationalists or to be populists, okay, to go by what the people want. And then, of course, at the result of it all would be tremendous chaos, okay, because people will be distrustful of the status quo, and then there will be declining confidence in a lot of institutions, and they said that it will be the cause of society's breakdown. So these are all the trends coming into play, and then COVID-19, okay, made things, okay, like hitting a button, the fast forward button. So COVID-19 quickened the pace. So as a business owner and as an individual, okay, because of 8 months, and I'm sure you have agreed with me that somehow the 8 months should have had some change in you. You should have made some survival techniques happen for yourself already. Okay, so what I can share with you right now is some lessons, okay, during this 8 months, and let's see if it matches, or we can share our notes, okay, on what lessons we learned and our techniques that made us survive COVID. First is I would just say that because of COVID, okay, COVID actually brought about freedom. Okay, what is freedom from this situation? Okay, because, okay, the quarantines, okay, affected. Oh yes, they did affect our freedom to move. They did affect our freedom to socialize and be with our loved ones. It was very limiting. Okay. However, okay, COVID, okay, brought a certain sense of freedom on us, because there was so much, okay, negativity going on, especially at the first part of this pandemic. It actually, okay, it actually shocked us into thinking that with all these failures and with all these bad things, I think that this will be a good canvas to rebuild on. Okay, because of this limited movement, and because we are just shut here in our, even until up to now, I'm still at work from home, and our movement into the outside world is quite limited. Okay, so what we can do now, because we are in isolation, we have all the time to think and plan, okay, how we can move forward. So I think that, okay, having COVID-19 was a double-edged sword. Okay, there are good things about it and there are bad things about it. Not at all 100% bad. And yes, okay, I discovered, which is number two. Okay, so there are a lot of personality types. Okay, so Miss Vivian Cruz mentioned about MBTI. Are you an extrovert? Are you an introvert? Well, for the most part, I think I am mostly, okay, 80% an introvert. Okay, I am an ambivert, but I'm leaning towards introversion. And I figured out that introversion has its perks because it is a superpower. Unlike other colleagues, somehow with isolation, I was quite comfortable with it. And because of that, okay, you could learn some lessons from introverts. Okay, during this time, we are not being insensitive of the situation, but actually, okay, many of us really liked working from home. And we have been beaming, okay, that this was us, okay, this is our normal. And we are teaching extroverts, our extrovert colleagues, that there are perks, okay, with this isolation. Okay, you can unplug, you can spend the time you can spend the time planning for 2021. You can also try, okay, if, okay, the Philippines, okay, you cannot get contracts as a consultant. You can also spend the time, okay, bidding for contracts overseas. Okay, you can do prospecting, you can do presentations already online. So there are a lot of things that you can do in isolation, business wise. Number three, okay, we were just lucky. I mean, my husband and I were just lucky because this setup that we have here, this came before COVID. This was like a few months before COVID because we already renovated our place, okay, before COVID. And during that time, we were thinking of a work from home setup because of my coaching stints, okay. So you need to also look at your environment and reappropriate your work condition or your work situation, okay, and plan for a healthy, safe, and work conducive living space, okay. So today's homes must have what? Sanitizing zones, privacy for family members as well, and amenities to be able to do conducive remote work. So look at your place now, okay? Because most businesses now, especially hardware, are open. You can try to plan for a better work setup for 2021. Number four, so if you look at all the talks, if you view all the talks, okay, so we can talk about leadership, we can talk about, okay, having more EQ, okay. However, as a business owner, having cash for expenses, for emergency expenses for my business, this was very important to me because there are a lot of unplanned expenses that came from complying to government measures, okay, for COVID. So hindsight, okay, I have a lot of colleagues who said that we should have saved. And having an emergency fund, okay, not just for your business, but also for your personal use, is your first line of defense against debt and further financial ruin during the pandemic. This is quite obvious, and it's not anymore really, it's actually an implicit, okay, statement in all discussion because we really need cash to move about during a crisis. And so right now people are having the time isolated and free time, okay, most of them, not all, but most, okay, may be recovering as well from being laid off. Okay. So, when you do plan for 2021, I hope that you would take into consideration having multiple streams of income. Okay. So, being a freelancer or a remote staff gives you the freedom to do this. Okay. And people are asking, how do we pay tax, etc. These are actually conveniently made available. Okay. This information in these are conveniently available in the forums. Okay. And what I could just say is that don't be contented with one job. Okay, so have multiple streams of income also means that being able to have your own small business. Okay, you can also try to sell insurance. Okay, and then what else? So there are a lot of things that you can do. Okay, so diversifying, pivoting. So what we did for our business, we were losing a lot of money with our BPO setup. However, we pivoted, and what we did was we were able to automate certain processes. And unfortunately, we had to also retrench our staff, okay? But we were able to automate our processes so that certain staff that are still needed by the business, we can be retained. So that's what you call pivoting and looking for other sources and other clients as well, and adjusting to what the clients are needing or willing to pay for. So this is number five. Okay. Number six. Okay, so we talked about uh, resources, but there is one resource, okay, that is more valuable, and that's time. That's why when I was in isolation, I was not really going to all the webinars. I was not really going to all the online discussions. So this is um, this is about prioritizing how you're using time and how it benefits you. So for companies, also it would pay to also just focus on the essential task of rebuilding rather than uh, being nitpicking rather than nitpicking on certain things, such as like if people are tardy or what have you. Okay, so I think that this one, okay, would be a valuable, okay, tip. Okay, so pay attention and just be mindful on activities that have the most impact to your organization or to your personal growth. So that's lesson number six. Lesson number seven. Okay, so when you are allotting or prioritizing and reappropriating, you are transforming from being a person who's like everywhere, okay, who's like not unsystematic, disorganized, into something or someone that's purposive. So you ask yourself, what will people remember, okay, that I did? Okay, during this time of crisis. So that's something that I ask myself when I think of content for our community. So what will people remember that they watched? Okay, was it helpful to them? Okay, and how can I spend, okay, the each hour, okay, creating the most impact? So which activities or projects aren't worth the time anymore? So people, I'm not saying that we be snotty or we become snobs. Okay, this is something about making use of time wisely. Okay, also working smart. So something that you should be transforming, okay, towards, okay, is being purposive with your use of your time and with your use of your resources. And maybe for certain individuals, okay, I know that things are really bad, okay, because this year was really a bad year or crazy year, as they say. But in times like this, you always see a threat, okay, as an opportunity. Okay, with COVID-19 at the onset, it was really bad for us. But when we took the time, okay, to analyze things, we saw certain, okay, windows of opportunity. Okay, so you should be able to be more resilient. So that's what they say. You have to be able to harness that adversity quotient and be able to deal with things that are very unpredictable. And unfortunately, there is no test like social intelligence. There is no test for adversity quotient. Okay, it's something that a person has because people went through a certain episode in their lives. Okay, so this thing, okay, we are all connected, and it didn't just happen to one person. It didn't just happen to me. It happened to all of us. So eventually, okay, the lessons that we learned here would make us more, okay, able to cope with adversity in the future. And then we learned it by being resourceful, by being purposive, and of course, okay, take care of not just our physical and mental health, but also our financial health. Now, what kinds of businesses were seen as surviving this pandemic? Okay, so there are four elements that were present during this time that helped them survive. Okay, so they said that a business, okay, or an organization that that survives COVID or a crisis should already have a strong culture, okay, and strong financials. Yes, to a certain extent it's true, but in detail, okay, what they really had was a good kind of leadership. Okay, their set of leaders were adaptive, and not only were they adaptive, they were empathic. Okay, so they have a so the description here is composed adaptive leadership. So organizations, okay, that are led by individuals that have diligence, okay, exercise good faith, proper use of information and position in the company, okay, will be able to help the organization, or will be able to bring forth, okay, survival to the organization, because these are people that have the best interests of the company in mind. And with the proper use of communication or information, so this is the time where people in the organization should focus more on developmental initiatives. Okay, and of course, putting forth values in the organization, such as pride in work, integrity, not honesty, but integrity, and efficiency or proper use of company time. Okay. However, okay, the air or the ambiance in the organization should not be, a martial law type. Okay, it should be more of the learning developmental paradigm. Then this one, okay, organizations that are seen thriving for 2021, okay, or towards 2021, uh, is a diverse kind of organization, because there will be more reliance on collective strengths. Okay, so businesses will be shifting to a more compact one. Okay, there are lean and mean. Okay, but their workers are multi-skilled. So there will be a premium set on hiring multi-skilled individuals. Okay, and the individuals that are of different age groups. Okay, because Multi-generational would mean that, okay, there is a distribution of authority. Okay, so this will help bring forth a more resilient, agile organization that's able to navigate through economic changes. Okay, so collective strengths. When you are hiring, because I've often encountered this question and comment that seems like business or recruiters are looking for those that are the unicorns, okay? So the multi-skilled or those with superpowers, okay? The perfect applicant. What I would just say is that you should be asking yourself, okay, what kind of skills, okay, these applicants are bringing into the organization, and will they be able to contribute to the collective strength of the organization? So I think that's an important factor that you should use when hiring people during the pandemic and during a crisis. This one, okay, again, number three. So because there's still a lot of uncertainty and unpredictability in the air, one should be also be able to have a strong balance sheet, okay, with strong cash reserves as an organization. So yes, expenses will still be limited to essentials. However, okay, the strong cash reserves would be important, okay, when there is no money coming in. So savings can support these businesses because, of course, we are in a network with other businesses, because our clients might be experiencing a certain amount of disruption in their operations, and they might be not be able to stay as your client. Or what we did was we just made a moratorium with our clients, and then let's see what happens for 2021. Okay, so we just had an agreement with our clients that if you're experiencing, okay, there are no clients for you, okay, no money coming in for you, instead of closing, or instead of ending our business relationship, we should just all remain at a standstill for now. So that's what we did. And then we will regroup on January 2021, and we will see if it is worth continuing the business relationship. So this one, okay, if you are a multi-million business, you should also be able to guarantee strong cash reserves for you, because the experiences of the pandemic, it seems to be affecting everyone. So, and things are very uncertain and unpredictable still. And the last one is the use of technology. So the use of technology is often ignored and neglected, because a lot of business owners feel that they really need a big investment to be able to implement, or be able to uh, incorporate technology in their operations. Okay. However, there are a lot of ways to simplify, the incorporation of technology in the operations. Okay. Simply shifting to paperless attendance. Okay. Using Google Docs would cut down your expenses on paper. You can utilize free or affordable apps for your processes and activities. Right now, I could see a lot of usage for Google Docs for, first for attendance, time in and time out, because people are cutting their subscription for biometrics, and most of the uh, most of the payroll services. Okay, so most of them are on subscription, so they're cutting down, okay, on those expenses. But you can utilize common and affordable apps, okay, for such processes. But the most important is the use of document of technology, okay, to digitize documentation. When we were able to shift to work from home immediately, because at the time, um, before that, okay, let's rewind a few months back. Sometime October, we already digitized everything. Our 201 files, we did it digitized. Our contracts with clients, we also digitized and actually stored in a hard drive. So when we suddenly came to this decision to work from home, we didn't have to bring all those papers with us. Okay, I just brought home the hard drive. So maybe this is something that the HR and admin people should look into. Okay, and also it's important to also trash out the protocols for digitizing your documents. Okay, so who can see, who can view, okay, and who can edit. Okay, so and then who can control, okay, the release of those documents. So overall, what I'm saying is it's been 8 months, okay, and I'm sure most of you or all of you, you've already made sense of what's happening and what has been, what are the essential things to do to survive COVID-19. Okay, 2021, uh, we see this as we are all hoping that it's a better year for all of us. Okay. So, as HRs and as admin people, we ask ourselves, okay, or I'm asking you now, okay, instead of you asking me, I'll ask you, how can you be an agent of change in your organization? So the lessons that we learned, so let's sum it up. First is we learned, okay, to some people, the pandemic was a pause. And then to some people, it became a very quick a very quickly paced one to them. Things were happening fast for them, and the others were happening too slow for them. So, which tells us that when you are a leader in the organization or you are the HR of the organization, when you solve problems, you should not be using cookie cutter approaches. Okay, so there's no one size that fits all. Okay, so you have to go and analyze things and come up with the best solution for these situations. And then there should be reliance on qualitative and quantitative data. Okay, so this is the time that analytics and documentation and recording figures is essential to make decisions also as an HR person. Oh, yung hindi marunong, nahihirapan sa math, mag-math review na. Okay? Because this is the time that both your communication skills and your analytic and math skills are important. So let's go back to this framework, okay, that we're using for crisis, okay, the ADAPT framework: asymmetry, disruption, age, polarization, and trust, okay. How can we be an agent of change, and how can we be seen as embracing change? So here, okay, I just give you the 5 R's of the new world. They say there's a new, okay, there's a new normal. I wouldn't say it's the new normal. It's actually a new world after COVID-19. And what we can just say is that we are at we are given the opportunity to restart. And being so, okay, we are what going to repair what's broken, and then we can also have the opportunity to rethink our practices, okay, and reconfigure, okay, our next steps, okay, so that we can rise above this huge challenge of COVID-19. Okay. And what is report? Okay. So people are always thinking of reinvention, restart, repair, rethink, reconfigure. But report means that being able also to make a documentation so that we have our notes. So we should be are historians of our company culture, or custodians of our company culture, by writing out, okay, in minutes and decisions, these should be stored as the data bank of the organization, so that in the future, should another crisis happen, we know what was done, and we have a model, okay, that can help us, okay, grow, because all not all companies are the same. Company situation might the situation of our own company was different from the others. So to be able to have that model, okay, that crisis management model, you should be able to have a data bank of the actions that was taken and the decisions that was made by management. So that's what you call a report. Anyway, they say that COVID was really bad for everyone, okay? But just think of it as the great pause, okay? And with the great pause, the greater the pause, okay, you have more room, okay, to reinvent yourselves. So just look at it that way, because uh, things are always in flux anyway, even before COVID. So this COVID thing was just it was just a another, okay, it was just another event, okay, and it somehow connected us together, and we're learning from each other. So that's why our community, we are thankful for those that have been sending, okay, their contributions, even for questions, even as a guest, etc., because we are able to interact with one another, and we are able to come up, okay, with good personal or business models to be able to survive the crisis. So thank you for this afternoon. And with that, I have to just tell you that COVID-19, yes, it brought a major pause, but it will and give us room for reinvention. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Chris. So that's the keyword, no? A great pause and a room for reinvention. So, indeed, that a lot of behavioral trends have reshaped our post-COVID world, and one obvious factor that already reshaped our world is working from home. No? So that factor is how many employees can and do choose to work from home permanently. No, and it's likely to permanently increase. No, post COVID. Like Google has said, a majority of their employees can work from home until 2021. While at Twitter naman, no, CEO Jack Dorsey told employees that they'd be allowed to work from home permanently and even after COVID. So that's actually a behavioral trend that happened that has reshaped our post-COVID world. No? And sa Philippines, I'm not sure if that can be, we can transition also to that phase kasi I'm sure employees will now be asking these questions after the pandemic. Nakaya pala natin magtrabaho ng working from home, bakit kailangan pa natin bumalik sa offices natin? So those are the behavioral trends now that has reshaped our post-COVID world. So one
Uh,
question,
mm,
yeah, from Eleanor Valmonte, with what happened to the world because of COVID-19, do you think it should now be a mandate of DOLE for all business firms, big or small, to have crisis management plan because we were all caught unprepared?
well, definitely, I agree with that, because when you have a crisis management plan, it means that you have a systematic way of dealing with people issues or business issues. Okay, why? Because it means that how you have a committee first, okay, that takes care of developing policies. It was not just a crisis management plan that was lacking. So, for most small organizations, it was the lack of policies that take into consideration. Well, first, they don't have a policy at all. Okay, they never defined their attendance policy. They never defined their OT. They never defined what their work hours. Okay, so that's very basic. So moving forward, if you have this kind of planning, okay, as an HR, okay, with the management, then uh, you would be able to navigate a lot of adversity that comes your way as an organization.
Thank you for that, Chris. No? So the question now is, can your culture support your people in COVID-19 isolation? So I think that's all for the Q&A from our audience. Thank you very much, Chris, for raising the event.
Thank you very much. And again, okay, so for HR Shouts, if you have a question, you can just post it and we will see if, well, just post it, okay? But please phrase it in a very professional manner, okay? So we don't allow trolls in our community. But we will try to help you. And for those who have been members of HR Shouts and also Jester for Circa Logica, so thank you for your patronage. And we hope to have a lot of projects and a lot of assemblies with you.
Thank you very much, Chris. So again, we're inviting HR professionals who have not yet joined the group. So join HR Shouts and Whispers no, sa Facebook group. Thank you again, Chris.
Okay, thank you. Bye bye.